You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
This is an alert day. More rain coming to the crossroads, maybe some flooding too. Let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. Mac, what's the latest?
Well, Don, everything is coming together as expected. As you can see right about here, let's see, where are we? We're right about there, okay? You see thunderstorms all the way down to Karnes City, rolling down to Three Rivers where the biggest stuff is occurring. All this stuff is coming in with that upper wind, the southwesterly wind, so this is basically going to be coming into our area. We are already under a flood watch because of the rain we had on Monday. We have flood warnings already up for these counties north of I-10, but of course everything is going to be rolling up from the south, so we begin tonight sometime after midnight with thunder and lightning and heavy rain pretty much all day long. The big concern, if we get 2 to 4 inches more of rain on top of the 2 and 4 that we had on Monday, well, that's going to lead us into a flooding situation. We'll be tracking all that for you coming up in just a few minutes, so stay tuned.
Mac, thank you. Earlier this month, some area residents expressed frustration over a foul odor near the Port of Victoria. Eventually, news of an accidental chemical release by Shamrock Products came out.
Some residents are still complaining. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick has the latest on the cleanup of the oil. Adarius?
That's right, you guys. On January 3rd, an oil spill occurred at the Shamrock Products Port of Victoria's facility, releasing toxic fumes into the community. Now, a waste disposal company continues to work with local regulators to clean the contaminated soil in the area. Republic Services plans to move the soil to their treatment, storage, and disposal facility in Robstown. The exact amount remains undisclosed. However, San Patricio County Sheriff Oscar Rivera says they're expecting 50 to 60 trucks of soil starting Thursday, which is when weather conditions are expected to improve. Republic Services emphasized the capabilities of their Robstown facility. They say it's the ideal solution for the soil. Don and Karina, back to you.
Adarius, thank you. A second suspect has been taken into custody in connection with a fatal shooting in Port Lavaca. 17-year-old John Michael Ruiz is charged with failure to report a felony or death results. Authorities say Ruiz was at a party earlier this month when a 16-year-old juvenile was shot. Authorities say Ruiz took the juvenile to the hospital and left him there. Ruiz is in the Calhoun County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond. 17-year-old Frank Sandoval is accused of fatally shooting the juvenile. He faces 3 charges. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled Monday that federal Border Patrol agents could remove razor wire installed by Texas authorities to deter migrants from illegally crossing the border.
This is just the latest issue causing Texas and federal authorities to clash over how to handle border security issues.
A showdown at the U.S. southern border between local authorities in Texas and the federal government over how to handle the influx of migrants.
We're here under the governor's order in order to protect Texas.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott continuing what's known as Operation Lone Star, a nearly 3-year-old initiative to deter migrants from illegally crossing into the U.S. From adding extra troopers like Sergeant Cordova at the border, placing floating barriers in the river, passing laws that allow state and local law enforcement to arrest migrants who entered Texas illegally, and the latest, installing razor wire along the banks of the Rio Grande. Despite these obstacles, migrants like this man still trying to cross. He says he just wants to surrender and ask for asylum. On Monday, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled federal Border Patrol agents could take down the razor wiring. The decision further fueling the divide between Texas and the federal government over who has the authority to secure the border. The Department of Homeland Security saying rather than helping to reduce irregular migration, the state of Texas has only made it harder for frontline personnel to do their jobs and to apply consequences under the law. Meanwhile, migrant crossings continue.
We're getting high crossings from different parts of the world.
Just this past Monday, a law enforcement source familiar with the operations on the ground said Border Patrol agents apprehended about 4,000 migrants. In mid-December, those daily numbers were closer to 10,000. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
The Biden administration gave Texas until the end of Wednesday to stop blocking the U.S. Border Patrol's access to 2.5 miles along the U.S. border. And this is going to lead us to your viewer poll. The question tonight is, what should be the priority in border security decisions? Is it preventing illegal crossings, humanitarian treatment of migrants, balancing security with illegal migration, or economic impact? According to our results, Don, help me out here, it looks like 72%.
72% say they should have preventing illegal crossings, and that is the key. So we thank you for voting, and come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part.
Now, a new report about Operation Lone Star showed Texas spent billions of dollars trying to curb illegal crossings. The program came out nearly 3 years ago. The report revealed nearly $10 billion were spent during that time, and law enforcement detained nearly 500,000 migrants. Texas has also taken several steps to protect the southern border, including the installation of razor wire and other barriers, as well as deploying state troopers. But critics believe this effort and money should be going elsewhere.
Your schools everywhere in Texas need this kind of attention. Roads all through Texas need attention. Our hospitals, our infrastructure. Let's put that money to that.
Texas leaders say they needed to act because the federal government does not do enough to secure the border.
San Antonio ISD schools reopened today after almost a week-long closure following last Monday's winter freeze. Heating problems forced the closing of those schools. Authorities said 1,100 climate control units were sent to different campuses as a part of a contingency plan, so they could be used to warm up or cool students enough to support them during their education. San Antonio ISD is asking a third party to conduct a thorough investigation to identify all causes that have contributed to the infrastructure failure.
Early voting in Victoria for the February 3rd mayoral election continued Tuesday. The numbers from the Victoria County Election Administrator look like this. 245 people voted in person early Tuesday. 643 total votes in person so far. No mail-in votes were received Tuesday, a total of 169 mail-in votes so far. Early voting for City of Victoria Mayor runs through January 30th. Early voting is at the Dr. Patty Dotson Public Health Center, 2805 North Navarro, Classroom A. You can vote this week from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Next week, January 29th and 30th, you can vote 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
That's right, and on the ballot is Peter Brown, Carissa Winters, Josephine Solis, Duane Crocker, Jacob Salceda, and Robert Bob Constantine. Join us Saturday, February 3rd for complete coverage of the special mayor election. And for any residents who have an interest in getting involved with Victoria's government, you can apply to run for city council. Residents can run for any of the 4 regular city council districts, 1, 2, 3, and 4 seats. An informational session about the roles of city council members will be held on February 6th at 10 a.m. at the City Council Chambers. That's going to be at 107 West 1 Lynn Street. The election is set for May 4th.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. Polls are now closed in New Hampshire as the first in the nation primary is done. The results coming up.
Also ahead, former Congressman George Santos returned to court for a status conference in his fraud and money laundering case.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information about the murder of Raul Monroy. On October 9, 1997, the body of 25-year-old Raul Monroy was discovered at the 2000 block of East San Antonio Street. Monroy was wearing a black t-shirt, blue jeans, and black shoes. Police later discovered Monroy's 1977 Chevy pickup at a local bar. If you have any information about the murder of Raul Monroy, please call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. You can also submit a tip by using the P3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to an arrest or charges being filed, you can earn a cash reward. With Victoria Crime Stoppers, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
Former New York Congressman George Santos went before a judge for a status conference ahead of his fraud and money laundering trial. During the hearing, prosecutors asked the court to give the parties time to pursue plea negotiations and set a schedule for pretrial motions. They plan to turn over another 6,000 pages of documents as part of discovery. Santos pleaded not guilty to 23 felony charges after being accused of misusing campaign funds and lying about his finances. A two-thirds majority of House members expelled him just last month. In New Hampshire, Donald Trump and Nikki Haley are going head-to-head.
The polls are closed, and the projection is that Donald Trump has won New Hampshire. He is the first GOP presidential candidate to win the first two in the same year, Iowa and in New Hampshire. But Nikki Haley says she's still on the campaign.
Voters in the first in the nation primary in New Hampshire have spoken. ABC News projects former President Donald Trump to win the primary. New Hampshire voters started at midnight, all 6 voters of the tiny town of Dixville Knox, picking Nikki Haley. And throughout the day, the enthusiasm for the consequential election grew.
I'm saying get out and vote. This is important.
Donald Trump dominated in New Hampshire, maintaining double-digit leads at one point in the polls over Nikki Haley, scooping up support from former rivals who each ended their own campaigns before backing him.
We need Donald Trump. America needs Donald Trump. If you want to make America great again, vote Trump.
If you want 4 more years of Donald Trump, let me hear you scream!
Trump with a machine of support, but Haley put a lot of muscle into her own campaign, crisscrossing the state for 41 days compared to Trump's 15, and win or lose, vowed to stay in the showdown against her former boss.
So I'm running against Donald Trump, and I'm not going to talk about an obituary just because y'all think we have to talk about it. I'm going to talk about running the tape and saving this country.
Meanwhile, Nikki Haley had previously told ABC News she is committed to staying in this race through at least Super Tuesday. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
And in Maine, Secretary of State says waiting for the Supreme Court to rule on former President Donald Trump's eligibility may create confusion among voters. Sheena Bellows removed former President Donald Trump from the state's ballot late last year, citing the 14th Amendment. She's now arguing to the state's Supreme Judicial Court that the appeals process should be ongoing. The nation's highest court is expected to weigh in on whether Trump could be ineligible to run under the insurrection clause in the 14th Amendment.
In-N-Out is up and gone from one of California's biggest cities. In-N-Out is closing one of its restaurants for the first time ever. The burger chain is shuttering its only location in Oakland due to the high rates of crime in that area. The chain issued a statement saying its customers and employees there are regularly victims of car break-ins, property damage, and even armed robberies. Burglaries in Oakland spiked 23% last year, and vehicle thefts shot up 44%. In-N-Out has moved some locations in its 75-year history, but has never closed one permanently. Research shows that cleaning your teeth is important for your overall health.
That's right, but even if you are in the hospital with other health problems, there's more to be done.
Toothbrushing is often overlooked for patients in the hospital as they are usually preoccupied with a serious health concern. Some are critically ill or may be under medical sedation and are physically unable to brush their teeth. But if doctors and nurses pay attention to oral health, it can help prevent other problems, especially for critically ill patients. A systematic review and analysis show that when patients in the ICU on ventilators have their teeth brushed, it can reduce their risk of getting pneumonia and also reduce their risk of death. In addition, routine toothbrushing was associated with fewer days of mechanical ventilation and a shorter ICU length stay. These findings may help with future programs and policies to encourage daily toothbrushing in the hospital. Toothbrushing is an easy task and only takes a few minutes. It should not be neglected. If your loved one is in the ICU, talk to their doctors about any concerns. With this Medical Minute, I'm Tim Pulliam.
The Texas Tribune has an article on what Texans should know about the new FAFSA to receive aid for college. You can read this story on crossroadstoday.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. We have an alert day for tomorrow. We're going to have heavy rain overnight, possible 2 to 4 inches again on Wednesday, in addition to what we had on Monday. And so tonight and tomorrow, all the crossroads got to be ready for this. We are already looking at thunderstorms firing down to the southwest. They'll be here in a few hours, so stay tuned. We'll have all that coming up in just a moment. Well, good evening, everybody. We're getting ready to get some pretty heavy rain through the area. In fact, it'll be here tonight and all day tomorrow. There you see Victoria County, basically cloudy, but earlier tonight we had some big storms up from Gonzales over to Schulenburg. Now at this hour, you're going to see, this is where they have flooding earlier today, but you're going to see the latest image right about there. And we have a cluster of storms from just south of San Antonio going south. This is it right here. You see it moving northbound. And it's getting fairly heavy. Now this is going to be drifting. This whole complex is going to be drifting toward us, and so somebody in the crossroads is going to be looking at heavy thunderstorms overnight and through most of tomorrow. Here again is Victoria, and of course we're talking just the last 3 hours of radar here. As you can see, the heaviest stuff caused the flooding right up here. But there's more coming, and it's coming in from the southwest as we expected. There you see Highway 37 right about there, all the way down into the Three Rivers areas where the stuff is now. So those of you out to the west of us in Cuero and Karnes City and those areas, you're going to be first, and then later tonight it'll be rolling down into the Victoria proper. All of this in the dark green is a flood watch. All of the rivers, as you see right here, are already under flood warnings. That's because of the rain that happened Monday. So, and this in the red is areas that had the flooding earlier this afternoon. And of course, they're hoping to get all that off the water before the next one comes through. So it's going to be a rather busy day tomorrow. And this is Future Tracker, and it has synced up very nicely with what is happening. So that gives me confidence that the models are proceeding correctly. Here you go, Tuesday night, 10 o'clock. Where is it? Down along 37. Well, there you go, midnight. Where is it? It's on top of Victoria County, all the way up to Highway 77, all the way to Hallettsville. Then we go to 3 a.m. and you can see how the big cluster has moved away, but there's still shower activity around the area on a scattered basis. And then we go all the way to 7 a.m. Another round of storms comes through. There you see it right about there. So you think, okay, it's Wednesday afternoon, 9 o'clock in the morning, it should start moving away, right? Well, not necessarily. There you go through the afternoon hours, and then in the evening, late on Wednesday night, that's tomorrow night, then we're going to have another big cluster that comes through the area right about there, comes all the way from Laredo, right across, I mean, it basically comes up Highway 59, and then it goes through. But by Thursday, we do start clearing out, and we're going to get a little better situation as we get to the weekend. It's going to be a rough Wednesday. It's an alert day. If you don't have to drive, it's just best stay off the roadways. If you have to drive, do be very careful with low water crossings that generally fill up with rain, because we're going to be in a flood situation. Here is tomorrow. As you can see, Wednesday, we're still in the warm sector. The good news is that by Thursday afternoon, we're in a little bit drier air coming through. Little smaller storm behind it coming through on Friday, but that sets us up for a very nice weekend as high pressure comes in and takes over and gives us a break, a much needed break. So temperatures are irrelevant. They're going to be about 65, but thunder showers pretty much all day long. That's for you in Port Lavaca, and for those of you in Cuero, pretty much the same deal. Looking at thunderstorms on and off all day long with heavy rain. Now 2 to 4 inches additional is going to put us in a flooding situation. That's a total of 8 inches in less than a week. So the alert day is up. If you can avoid travel, just put it off for Thursday. Friday, little frontal system comes in, and Saturday, we finally have some nicer weather, cooler weather to feel a little bit more like January. And now here's Zach Brown with sports.
The Shiner Comanches travel to Bloomington. Great games over there. I'll have that in sports. So the best game of the night came unexpectedly. East versus West JV hoops in double overtime. The East Titans down 2, put back good with less than 30 seconds to go, tied it up. We go into triple overtime. West ladies down 4. They kick it out for 3. The shot's good, plus the foul. A clutch 4-point play ties the game. Right up, back come the East girls. She sidesteps her 3-ball. That's good. It's 60-57 East Titans, but you gotta play defense because back come the Warriors. She lines up a 3. She responds. We're all knotted up at 60 apiece. Now with time winding down, no one can grab possession. West is gonna put it up and in to go up 2 with about 10 seconds remaining for the Titans. They have one last gasp. They gotta get it up, and they do, but it's no good. The West ladies just do hang on and get the 62-60 victory. Now in the varsity game, much different story. The East Titans did not waste any time, jumped out to a massive lead in the first quarter, and this clip will tell the story. Avery Valentine drills a 3. They get the turnover on the inbound, and she calmly sinks another. The West Warriors would get one of their own, but the final score in this one, 72-33, East Titans win. Closer game with the boys. West trailing. They sink a shot at the horn to slice into that Titan lead. Heading into the fourth, both coaches trying to rally the troops. Coach McDonald hoping his guys can come back and avoid the series sweep. They fought. Bo's going to drill a 3 right here, giving them a little bit of life. But much like game number 1 between the two of these teams, the Titans always seem to have an answer. East wins the matchup 49-39. Now over at the Bloom, they have this entire community fired up. They welcome Shiner, and what a battle it was. Carson Schutte right here is going to hit the too little celly after scoring. Bloomington not going to take that in their own home. They're trying to stay undefeated in district play, but perfection is hard, and it does end. Shiner in overtime defeats the Bobcats by 1 point. Comanches win 45-44. The girls also fell to Shiner, but this game was closer than many would have guessed. The Lady Comanches, winners of 18 in a row coming into this one, only led by 10 with about 3 minutes to go. Bloomington showed they can play with the best. They're still hunting for the playoffs. The Edna girls defeated Tidehaven 56-39. They are now 9-1 in district play. The boys, while we're talking about Edna, also got a big win. They are 6-1 in district play. They are tied for first place. Both of the Edna teams tied for first place in their respective districts. The Hallettsville ladies breathing down the Cowgirls next for first place. Well, Don, as usual, that is not every score, but that's it for now. Back to you guys at the desk.
That's a lot of scores, Zach. Great job. Yes.
A lot more coming tomorrow.
All righty, thank you, Zach. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we're going to take a last look at your weather with Mac. Plus, a zoo in Fort Worth welcomes a new baby giraffe.
When you think about it, Texas is a perfect place for having a long neck. A long neck newborn giraffe was welcomed at the Fort Worth Zoo. Staff named him Corbel after the popular champagne brand because he was born in the early hours of New Year's Day. Got it. Corbel is 6'3" and weighs 165 pounds. Yeah, the zoo introduced to the world in a cute social media video. Corbell is part of a third generation of giraffes at the zoo. Right now he's being kept indoors because it's too cold outside.
Oh, he's so cute.
Everybody go, aww.
A question that has dogged researchers for a long time. Dogged. Why do dogs wag their tails? Animal researchers in Europe have released new findings that believe evolution is the key. They studied wolves and dogs and found historically wolves hardly ever wag their tails. But when dogs do, people react in a positive way. So over thousands of years, people were likely attracted to dogs that wagged their tails and wanted to keep that trait when breeding took place.
Aww,
how about
that's
that? Well, I
interesting.
never knew that, and we're not even in the dog days of summer.
I'm not buying that theory because my dog can't talk, so he tells me with his tail that he's happy.
You know,
would he be happy over this weather?
Oh, no, he'd be indoors
No,
sitting on somebody's lap. Folks, we've got some stormy weather coming in tonight. You can see it all there out west of us. Those of you in Carnegie City or out to, Cuero and the other, Nordheim, you're going to be first as this complex is getting pretty wound up. It'll be through our area around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. It'll be stormy pretty much all day tomorrow. So that's why we have it as an alert day. Turn around, don't drown, but if you can even stay home and not drive in this stuff, you'd be better off.
Alrighty, Mac, thank you. A record number of manatees crowded into Florida's Blue Springs State Park to escape the cold on Sunday. The park says a jaw-dropping 932 manatees showed up, breaking the New Year's Day record of 736. The temperature at Blue Spring is a constant 72 degrees, so it's safe bet a crowd of manatees will be there during the cold snap. They prefer warmer water and can actually die from cold stress. But good for them.
But they know where to
Cozy and
go.
warm. Yeah, they're all cozy together.
We can go with them and wear a special wardrobe. There are Mana t-shirts. We can fit right in.
Okay, Don. I don't know how you sneak those in. You always do them. But thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina Osterine, meteorologist Parker Cox for the latest weather. 25 News Now, sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.